G'day guys, and welcome back to another video on the YouTube channel. And in today's video I'm doing my ladder predictions for 2025, and yes, the predictions video is finally out. It took some time to edit and stuff, so that's the reason why I got it out a bit late and stuff on. But yeah, let's get straight into the ladder predictions video. In 18th position, I have the Richmond Tigers. With their inexperience in the side, I think they're going to fall off in 2025 and have an even worse season that they had in 2024. Of course, with the big guns, Bolton, Rioli, all these great players leaving the club to different clubs, and Dustin Martin retiring and such. I feel like the Richmond Tigers are either going to fall, even though with their new draftees like Sam Lalor and all that, who may give a little spark, but I don't think it's enough to steady the ship for Richmond. So I feel like it's going to be a big drop off for the Tigers, and I feel like it's going to take at least a 4-year rebuild to rebuild themselves back to the best they were in their prime, like in 2019 and 2020. So it's going to take a bit of time, but I'm going to have them in 18th position. So now I have another team falling in 2025, and that is the Essendon Bombers. I had them falling towards the 17th position this year. It was a tough call, but I feel like there has to be one team that's going to fall to the bottom 4 this year, and I thought, yeah, there's going to be one team, and it's going to be the Essendon Bombers. I mean, they have had a terrible year. They had a here and there year in 2024, but I think they're going to have an even worse year in 2025. I know they have great players. They lost Jake Stringer, a big asset to the club, and I feel like it's just going to fall apart for them in 2025. So that's why I have the Essendon Bombers in 17th position. Now in 16 positions, I have the Kangas, and they've been around the bottom 4 for a while now. For the last 4 years, they have been searching to get out of that bottom 4, but I still think it's going to be one of those years where they stay there. They're going to rise a position higher though, because I see some young talent from that drafty. I can't remember his name, but they have some young talent coming in. Harry Sheasel, who's gaining a bit of experience, who can really shine. Jaya Simpkin. Now I feel like it should start to click for North Melbourne, or there's going to be a big problem in the future years for North Melbourne. This should be the year they finish a bit higher, even out of the bottom 4, but I think they won't. I think they'll finish 16th. Not really improvement, but yeah. Now in 15th position, I have the West Coast Eagles. I have them rising just a little bit. Of course, they lost a couple of big players like Tom Barras and some other players, but they got some players from the Richmond Tigers, I can't remember the names because, But yeah, I think West Coast are going to have a pretty average year. They can shoot up like Hawthorn did in 2024, but you never know with the West Coast. They can shoot up like Hawthorn in 2024 and be one of those sides that shock everyone and probably even make the 8. But you never know with West Coast. I feel like they're going to be a team you don't know in 2025. But yeah, I will have them in 15th. Now in 14th position, I have the Melbourne Demons. And yes, I have them falling in 2025. Of course, I've seen people put them in their ladder predictions in 17th position, although start falling that much. I don't think they'll fall that much. I feel like they'll just finish above the bottom 4. But yeah, they have had a bit of a problem. But yeah, that forward line hasn't been too good for Melbourne. But you would of course know that with Melbourne. That's why I got them in 14th position. They got to really up their game in 2025 if they're going to make the top 8 this year. I think it's going to be a real shocking year for Melbourne. I think they're going to finish in 14th position. Now in 13th position, I have a team in the mid-table mix, and that's Adelaide Crows in 13th position. Of course, couldn't find a spot of them in the ladder, that's why I put them in the mid-table. Of course, I have a Shelley, a great player for the future, Sam Berry, all these great players that can make an impact. I think this might be Tex Walker's last year, I assume. It's going to be a good year for Adelaide Crows. Have a few upset wins here and there, against big teams, probably Hawthorn and probably Brisbane, here and there, not all the time. And they'll look pretty promising for 2026, but in 2025, I see them being very, very promising, and that's why I'm going to have them in 13th position. Now in 12th position, I have the St Kilda Saints, another mid-table side. I think that will be in 2025. Of course, they looked not that good in 2024. The other team that would finish in the top 8 or may usually be a mid-table side, but we have to see in 2025 because every year is a new year. And I feel like Saints will be just not that big of a team to compete with the bigger sides like Hawthorn, Brisbane, all those big teams. That's why I got them in 12th position for now. But yeah, they have some great players as well. Jack Steele. Yeah, it looks like it'll be a great year for the St Kilda Saints. Now in 11th, I have the Gold Coast Suns. New era, new them. They have a new jersey, new logo, new everything in 2025. But yeah, I can't trust them to put them in the 8 because they've never made finals before in like above 10 years. And that's a bit shocking for you guys. But yeah, how can you trust the Gold Coast Suns to put them in the 8 until they make it? So I have to wait until that happens. So that's why I've got them in 11th position, because I don't trust them enough. But they do have some great players like Mac Andrew, who can really lift the side as a defensive player and a forward player. You've also got Ben King, who helps in that forward line. So they really have a strong forward line. But yeah. Now everyone's going to kill me for this call. I just know it in the comments. I've got Carlton in 10th position. Carlton fans, I'm very sorry, but your team is not making the 8 this year. You may have so many reasons, but I don't think they will. They are a good team, but I feel like they're going to be very inconsistent coming into 2025. They won't start the season well, but they'll have a good mid-patch, but it won't be enough for the Blues, and that's why they will miss out on making that top 8 and that finals run. They will feel so sad. Charlie Curnow, he would play a massive part, I think, in 2025 and all those players, but I don't think the Carlton Blues will make the 8. 9th position, I have to have one team in this position, unfortunately, and I think it will have to be the Western Bulldogs. Unfortunately, they've finished 6th last year, but I feel they'll fall a bit out of the top 8, even though with the youngsters like Riley Sanders, Sam Darcy, Riley West, I don't think it'll be enough for them to steady the ship in 2025, as I feel like they'll be, as well as Carlton, very inconsistent throughout the season, beating big teams here and there. And of course, they have great defenders like Liam Jones, Buku Karmas, and Ed Richards, and Vandermeer, and all those great players, and also Liberatore. But yeah, I have them in 9th position. So now we got our top 8 now, and in 8th position I have Fremantle. Of course, last year they just missed out on finals berth because they had a chance and they blew it by losing to Port Adelaide. They absolutely choked their position, and they were 5th and then they came into 9th. But I think this year is about time for them to wrap things up, because they have a talented young side with Caleb Sarong, Sean Darcy, all these great players, Jeremy Sharp, who looks like he's going to be a bright gun for the future. Caleb Sarong looks like he could even be a Brownlow medalist this year. You never know with how he's been going. And Michael Frederick, one of my favourite players for the Freo Dockers, a great forward for the Fremantle Dockers, and I feel like he'll kick at least 25 plus goals this year. Same as Josh Tracy, he might kick like 50 plus this year. I know I said it last year as well. But yeah, I think the Dockers will finish 8th position. Now in 7th position, I have the Collingwood Magpies. Yeah, they didn't make the 8 last year. I think they are one of the most experienced sides in the comp this year. I'm not even lying. And they have some gun players coming into this year like Isaac Quaynor, DeGoey, Tom Mitchell, Houston. They're stacked. Pendles, Perryman, Darcy Cameron, everyone. Like, there's literally everyone. Bobby Hill, side bottom. Like, there's not a player you can miss. Tim Membry, they've just gotten so much picks and everything. I think they can even push for top 5. They really can. I think they have a strong side, even with Nick Dacos. So I think they can really rise to the top. I think this is why they'll finish at the lowest. Now in 6th position, I have the Brisbane Lions. I see a little premiership hangover for the Brisbane Lions this year, even though they have some gun players like Kai Lohman, Archie, and of course Josh Dunkley, and your Will Ashcroft, Lockie Neal. players that can rise up to the occasion like Charlie Cameron, Eric Hipwood. I just don't see the Lions being a top 4 side this year. They will look good, but I feel like they won't be good away from home. I feel like they'll make the Gabba their fortress, but they can't find a win away from home, even though the premiership, of course, premiership hangovers have been happening lately, and I feel like it will be another one of those years that there will be a premiership hangover when no one's expecting. So that's why I've got the Lions in 6th position. So now in 5th position, I have my Hawthorn Hawks. Hawkball will be back better than ever next year. But they won't play in a qualifying final, unfortunately. They will be playing in an elimination final next year. And I think they are we well and truly deserve a spot. We have Dry Newcomb, James Sicily, who's a gun, and Carl Amon and Marbia Chol. And we got some good ins like Josh Battle and Barras. Like, what else can you ask for? And they're given showtime. Like, it's going to be such a great deal with Kalsha. Dear everyone, we may have a young team, but this looks like a premiership winning side in another 3 years. I am so excited for the Hawthorn Hawks in the coming years. I'm really, really stoked to see what they have to bring in 2025. I can't wait. I bet you guys can't wait to see what Hawkball, the most entertaining side in the AFL, has to do in 2025, but I've got them in 5th. Now in 4th position, I have the Port Adelaide Power. Of course, Ken Inkley is leaving the club after 2025 and they want to give him some reward, and they'll finish 4th on the ladder. I feel like they have a decent year in 2025 like they did in the other years. They won't fall out the 8. They're a good team to really push their heart out this season. I think they really have a chance to even push for that first place, maybe even a premiership after 21 years. You never know. But the Power, they look pretty good coming into 2025, I think, even though they lost Dan Houston, who's a big out for the Port Adelaide Power. But it doesn't really matter because they're going to have a great year in 2025. And I think that's why I think they're going to finish in 4th. Now in 3rd position, I have the GWS Giants. I just think they're going to have a banger year in 2025 with the likes of Toby Green, who's been a gun for the Lions for many years, and Jesse Hogan, the Coleman medalist. How much goals do you think he's going to kick this year? 60 plus, 70 plus? You never know. He just carries this Giants side, and I think this year is going to be the year for the Giants to really show their colours away from home and at home and be a really big force, and you do not want to verse them in 2025, I'll tell you that. With Jacob Cardi, Callum Brown, all these great players, even Tom Green are smoking for that top 5 in the Brownlow. I feel like it's going to be an absolute beautiful year for the Giants in 2025, and that's why I have them in the 3rd position. Now in 2nd, I have the Catters, and I think they're going to be looking premiership bound in 2025. Of course, we saw them in the match sim game win against the Hawks 104-86, and that is a big sign for the Geelong Cats coming into 2025. I am pumped to see how they will go in 2025, of course. I see them in 2nd, of course, with the rising star Lee Dempsey, who's going to be absolute gun in the future. Can't wait to see him on the biggest stage. Jeremy Cameron could even get the Coleman this year. And I think this is Patrick Dangerfield's last year, I think so. Ollie Hendry, he performs at the biggest stages, and I feel like they really, really, really have to be in the top 4 this year. They're looking dangerous in 2025. Now my minor premiers for 2025 has to be the Sydney Swans, who lost in the grand final, and they're the lucky losers every time in the grand finals, but I think they are going to finish first this year. I feel like this is the year things are going to click for them. I feel like they'll lose like 2 or 3 games here and there, but SCG will be their absolute fortress. No one would want to play there, and they will just smash everyone, every opponent. Joel Amati, watch out, he's the gun that's going to have a breakout year in 2025 like that Jamari Ugle-Hagan year. And same as Isaac Heaney, he looks like he can win a Brownlow anytime soon. So I've got the Sydney Swans at first, but let's see how they go in 2025, and hopefully they win the flag as well. like and subscribe for more content. And I'm not lying, definitely hit that subscribe button if you did go and to enjoy this video, like the video. I'm not saying this for the sake of it, I'm actually saying subscribe because there is some predicting every AFL game video hopefully coming out soon, and then there's also some big call video hopefully I can get out. So there's lots of big things coming on the channel, and even some tipping videos. So if you want to see more of that, like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next one.